Crowd seen here rushing out of the store with their arms full of items, some throwing them in the air. Inside the store, aisles.
No, that's not appropriate. We're not talking about
Did you hear the answer?
mob actions. I didn't say that. Okay, hold on a second.
Nearly 40 teens charged after disorderly gathering in South Loop, Chicago police said. What's going on there? Friends, Chicago is on fire. And I think the issue here is the way this matter is being handled. I'm not saying I have all the answers. I'm not in that position to act like as if I know. All that I know is the way this is being handled, it's not correct.
Last night, causing damage to this 7-Eleven store during that chaos. Photos from inside that business show racks of food toppled over and items everywhere. No one was hurt, but tonight Chicago police say they had no choice but to make arrests.
ABC 7's Kate Kogirin live tonight near the 7-Eleven that was caught in the middle of all this. Kate?
Well, Robin and Judy, tonight police are hoping that these arrests send a message to the suspects and their families. Others we spoke with hopes this sends a larger message to the whole city to help Chicago's youth.
Chaos outside a South Loop 7-Eleven Sunday night. The crowd seen here rushing out of the store with their arms full of items, some throwing them in the air. Inside the store, aisles were ravaged and ransacked. Police say now 40 people, mostly teens, are facing misdemeanor charges as a result of the so-called teen takeover.
We haven't arrested people like that, but this group got so out of hand that we had no choice.
Alvin Jackson saw the crowd at Roosevelt and Canal grow from a few dozen to a few hundred.
Just a few kids, then it got thicker and thicker and thicker, and they kept coming and kept coming and kept coming.
Alvin says at first things appeared to be peaceful. Then a small group of teenagers started to block traffic and attempt to break into stores.
Throwing the bottles, jumping on people's cars, trying to start fights, and trying to run into stores and stuff like that.
Police say once the crowd got out of hand, officers had no choice but to make arrests.
The arrests are the results of the actions. Before we asked them to move, asked them to go home, it was curfew time, and they did. This time they refused. We know everyone doesn't have a predictable home life, but we're trying to deal with the youth in a certain way to try to offer other things for them to do and other avenues.
Alvin told me, aside from the few dozen causing problems, the majority of the young crowd appear to just be looking for a place to hang out.
Okay. This is what we are told. But is this side of the issue that is very interesting is the way that the mayor of Chicago is responding to this. Listen to his remarks when he was asked the question about the mob mentality, the destruction, the way that these young people went about destroying things that they had no business destroying. But listen to his, look at the body language, look at the tone of his voice, and listen to his responses.
Oh, you're not aware of some of these large gatherings? No, that's not appropriate. We're not talking about
Did you hear the answer?
mob actions. I didn't say that. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, respectfully, we're not talking about mob actions. I didn't say that. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, respectfully, these large gatherings, just hold on a second, y'all. I promise you, we have time to talk. It's important that we speak of these dynamics in an appropriate way. This is not to obfuscate what is actually taking place. But we have to be very careful when we use language to describe certain behavior. There's history in this city. I mean, to refer to children as like baby Al Capones is not appropriate. So let me finish, please, okay? What I'm saying is that when you ask for very specific examples, there have been other attempts to have large gatherings. What I'm saying is been other attempts to have large gatherings, and we've intercepted those attempts. Mary Ann, do you have a question?
Wow. That's what I said at the beginning of my video. There's something mentally wrong with this man. He's either not understanding the nature of his arguments or what he is doing here. He seems to be protecting the youth so much, the character of the youth, but he's not addressing so much their behavior. But while he's doing the protecting of the youth in his city, the businesses and the condition of his city is getting worse. Do I think locking all these people up is what to do? No. I don't personally believe that, but I think you need to really throw the book at some of them. You need to really lay the laws down on them. They need to know this cannot happen again. You have to set serious boundaries where if this were to happen again, serious trouble will result. But I don't think that's what they're worrying about here. But I love this take here. Listen carefully to what these reporters are saying.
Mayor Brandon Johnson took questions during a wide-ranging media conference yesterday.
Some of the topics included concerns dealing with migrants and the so-called teen takeovers. Political analyst Laura Washington is here to talk about that and more. Laura, good morning. Good morning. So the mayor said that police have actually stopped more of these. We called them teen takeovers. He called them trends from happening. Where did trends?
I'm not sure where that comes from, but he objects to us referring to them as mobs because he feels that that's demonizing and criminalizing young people, and that that's something that's been going on for too long.
So what's
right? So I guess
go ahead.
fair. Okay, so that's a point.
Mm-hmm.
I think the question still. How the heck do we stop these things from happening again? And is he answering that question?
He talked about that yesterday. He said that there are a number of other incidents that did not happen because the cops were on top of them and they've been monitoring social media. They've been watching. But people are wondering, if you take this sort of very cavalier attitude toward it, aren't you encouraging more of this kind of thing? If you're saying these are just kids having fun, the kids are going to get that message as they can continue to do it.
Yeah.
Well, then the question is, what more should the mayor and the city be doing?
Well, what they say they're doing is, again, his whole thing's always been a holistic approach. You got to get these kids jobs. You got to get them social services. You have to give them other things to occupy their time, other alternatives. And that's part of his overall plan of action.
To the migrants, and the mayor says that there's enough room. We've seen a lot of pushback from the community on this. Is this going to be an ongoing thing, you think?
Is there enough room? They're still sleeping. Some of them are still sleeping in police stations. They're having to shift them from location to location because they're running out of space. And the more important thing is the resources. There just aren't enough resources to support these young people and older people as they transition out of these shelters and hopefully into homes.
Because the situation now, as they're being moved into field houses and the armory, is that community resources are being withheld now in order to make accommodations for the migrants, and so that's why a lot of the communities are not happy about it.
The kind of resources you're going to need to get them out of those locations and get them into housing, get them into jobs. That's even much bigger money, and that's not only community resources, that's our taxpayers' money.
$20 million a month.
Yeah.
All right, Laura. Yeah, and counting. Laura Washington, good to see you this morning. Appreciate it.
Yeah, this is exactly what's going on in Chicago. The mayor's attitude is disturbing to me because he is somewhat protecting the lives of the youth, offended by certain words that are used. And I don't think youth should be demonized and stuff like that. But if you are acting like, if you are being lawless, right, agent of chaos, a mob protester, right? By the way, the word mob means a large crowd of people, especially one that is disorderly and intent on causing trouble or violence. That's correct. They are acting like mobs. They are starting trouble. These are not large gatherings nor trends. So that's why I said I think there's something wrong with this man, with his way of thinking. Now, what is going on here is, I think this video will explain everything to you. Okay, a lot of what's going on in Chicago could be explained by this video. All right, this man here, man, he is on point. He is on point addressing. He is a veteran. Part of his job is talking to young people before it gets to a point where we can't control them. Even the justice system can control them. Before another police pull the trigger, before somebody gets locked up, we got to catch our young people right here, just like this man is doing. Now, I want you to notice this video. His mother is standing there, and there he is, and he's being addressed by the veteran. Listen to how this goes. And this is the lesson we need to learn. Every man, pay attention. Every parent, pay attention. If you want to deal with what's going on in Chicago, this is where you start fixing it.
Doing like she crazy, cursing at her, telling her what you won't do. You won't clean your room. You won't do what you want to do. And you talk to your mother like that? Like you tough? Do you think you tough, little man? Talk to me like you talk to your mother. Talk to me. You think you tough, don't you? Boss up on me. Cuss me out. Tell me you ain't gonna do what I say do. I dare you. I dare you. You ain't gonna do it to me? Why you do it to her? Why you talk to her disrespectfully? Why? Little boy, answer me. Why do you talk to your mother disrespectfully? You don't know why you do it. Today I'm gonna help you find out why. And today it ends. Today it ends. Do you understand? You will not call your mother out of her name ever again.
Love it. This could be easily misunderstood. Somebody can say, oh man, you're trying to scare this child to death. That's not fair. Listen, this is where we either save our children. This is where we lose our children. Right here. Right here. If you don't put the law down, you're in serious trouble. Listen, man, I got 2 boys, 3 girls. Well, actually, it's 3 boys, 3 girls. I got some stepchildren, so I'm mixing here. Okay, we have foster children as well. So altogether, we have 6 children. I can tell you something. The responsibility of a father is massive in the lives of the young people. The children, what you see happening in Chicago is the end result of fatherlessness. That's really what it is. Fatherlessness, lawlessness results from broken homes. This is the result of a society that has failed their young people. It began in the home. Okay, now it needs to be fixed. It needs to be addressed. The cops have to do their thing. Activists have to do their things. The Christians and the preachers have to get involved. It's going to take a whole lot to fix some of this, but these behaviors is going to take some Jesus. Because once you get this far, when they get this old, it's hard to stop that. And again, there's a lot of influencers out there. There's a lot of social media influencers. They're not doing this just because. They're doing this because they're being told and influenced to do it. It becomes a trend. Okay. And the mayor is correct in some point. It becomes a trend. One of the ways you fix that, you have to address them when they are young. You have to speak some common sense to them when they are young. You have to hold them accountable when they are young. And I think one of the ways that black people are failing today, especially our young black teens in this country, there is no more accountability and responsibility for black people. At least not from the leaders, from the Democrats' policies. They are encouraging this stuff. They're saying you're a victim. Your ancestors were slaves. The white supremacists are out to get you. And they say this over and over again. And as a result, these young people they just lose it, man. And I think that they are partly to blame for this. But what I'm trying to tell you, the heart of this issue is fatherlessness. That is what's going on. And the less fathers are involved in the lives of the young, the more of these troubles you can expect. They are reacting to that void that is in their hearts. They are reacting to that emptiness that is lacking in them. Yes, you can give them jobs. Yes, you can do this and do that. And that's good. You can save some as a result of doing that. But if you don't address, if they don't get men involved in their lives, if they don't see good examples from men, if the mothers are not staying with their men, and there could be different reasons for that, okay? And let's just say there's a separation. All right, they're not together anymore. They need to figure out a way to keep the father involved. If he wants to be involved, you have to keep him involved in the life of the young person, in the life of that child. Because you gotta save the child. You gotta think outside of the box. You gotta think beyond your circumstance. You gotta think and put your feelings aside. And remember, without the father, you're gonna lose him. It's that big of a thing. Mothers cannot do it all on their own. God never intended for mothers to do it all in the first place. I love this video because it tells you a lot. God is a father. He corrects us. And our young people today needs correction. I don't think they need to be abused. They need prayer. I'm telling you, first of all, they need serious prayer. Serious prayer. I'm not making this video to make fun and to point finger. I'm not here saying, oh, agents of chaos, bunch of evil doers. I don't know. Listen, man, there's a lot going on in the home. But one thing I can tell you for certain, majority of these young people came from broken home. And if I'm not mistaken, over 90% of them either is missing their fathers, one or the other. They're missing their fathers. They don't have no godly examples. And this is normal among black communities. And that's hurting us. You know, friends, there is a father who cares a lot about us, though. There is a heavenly father. You see, the culture might fail you. And I want to appeal to the youth today, if that's possible. When my father and my mother forsake me, then the Lord will take me up. Teach me thy way, O Lord, and lead me in a plain path because of my enemies. Young people, sometimes fathers are going to fail. Sometimes mothers are going to fail. But the Lord will never fail you. And if there's any young person watching this channel, if you know any young person that you might be able to relay this message to, let them know, man, there is a father in God. There is a mother in God. And I'm not saying God is a mother. I said there is a mother in him. He can feel in their shoes. That's the point. He can pick up where they messed up. And our young people needs that today. They need men. They need a father. They need the Lord. It's sad. Praying for them. Intervene. Say something. Speak to them. Speak life to them. Hold them accountable. Some of them need to be locked up. But you can't cuddle them, though. By doing that, you're destroying them. Share your thought and perspective with me. What do you think the solution is? I don't have all the answers. What do you think the solution is? What do you think the problem is? Why is this happening in Chicago? What do you think we could do to make a difference? Advocate, speak, bring thoughts and perspective. It matters, by the way. It really matters. This is how we bring about change. And I will say, if that could make a last appeal for those of you who are praying Christians, pray for our young people. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye.